we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Mallard Bay. Go out and check mallardbay.com. If you're an outfitter or guide, check them out. If you want to book a hunt, check them out. They can take care of you on anything. That's mallardbay.com. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
I am here.
Where else would you be?
Shit, man, there's no telling.
Did you watch women's basketball last night?
Didn't even know it was on.
Me neither. So I just was curious.
Didn't even know it was on. I watched Beverly Hills Cop. I watched the new one.
That's good.
It was okay, yeah. It's a fun movie. I wouldn't. If I would have gone and watched it in theaters, I would have been a little disappointed. But
I wouldn't pay $10 to go watch anything at the movies. I watch
really,
it at home.
I don't really think I would either. You know, Kevin Costner's new movie. Before we get started, Kevin Costner's new movie flopped, and he's blaming it on attention spans of young kids now. And I am going to back up what Kevin Costner said because I watched Beverly Hills Cop in about 4 different 30-minute chunks. I'd watch it. I would get distracted.
Put your phone up and turn your computer off.
I can't.
That's the problem.
It's not possible. So Kevin Costner's movie is like 3 hours long, but he needs to bitch at the baby boomers that love Yellowstone. They're the ones that didn't show up. Don't blame it on my generation having a short attention span.
He can blame it on me because I'm not watching anything that liberal pricks does.
Well, that's fine. I'm not talking about any of that.
But I'm saying that's why I'm not going to watch his show.
That's fine.
And so there's other people like me that he has pissed off. That's got something to do with it. But I agree with you on the baby boomers don't watch stuff. But I just don't watch much Hollywood stuff. I did watch the Beverly Hills Cop 2. I liked it. It was non-political. It was a good movie. There was no woke moments in it.
Right.
Or Beverly Hills Cop, 7?
I don't even know.
But it was good. And it was better than Coming to America 2 was.
Didn't watch it.
Well, that was not very good, but it's funny. All the old movies they're redoing. I saw there's a new TV series coming out, and it's an old series they're redoing. Like it's like nobody has any kind of imagination to come up with anything new.
There's one part where Eddie Murphy's like running. I'm like,
he's not a runner no more.
That's not good.
No, it's
we're in a bind.
That's like Martin Lawrence and Bad Boys.
Yeah, we're in a bind in 20 years when all these old guys die off.
But can we not come up with something new though? There's got to be new shoes. I've said this before. I don't understand why someone doesn't copy the Home Alone recipe and make a movie every Christmas, some kind of movie like that.
Yep. And
it would be a big something. The whole family would watch. It would be a moneymaker. Because I would take my grandkids to the movies, but I'm not going to go to the movies. I noticed the new Sylvester Stallone shit's not on Paramount, and it's on CBS now. The new Tulsa King.
Yeah.
I think it comes out Sunday after 60 Minutes. I saw it advertised on something. I think the golf tournament. All right.
Let's get to business.
Let's get to business today. With us today are you in Flower Mound?
Just outside of it. Yeah.
Flower Mound, which is a suburb of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mr. Gray Schneider. Gray, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
Are you
guys?
a movie guy?
Yes.
So you've seen the new Beverly Hills Cop?
I haven't. It's on the list.
It's good. I mean, for
a fun movie.
Today's movies are different than the older movies, I think, and it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It's great because you get to see a lot of the old characters.
They reintroduced
everybody,
them well.
And they done a really from Surge to all of them. It was really. I enjoyed it. It was really good. I like the old music in it because they played the original music, like when he's driving the cigarette truck or getting in the back of the cigarette truck, and the Pointer Sisters. Is that the
Did
song?
they play that? Yeah, because I watched the first Beverly Hills. I watched the first part of Beverly Hills Cop 1 after that, and it was The Heat Is On.
The same music. It was entertaining.
Nostalgic.
It was good to see. And Eddie done a good job because that's the best Eddie Murphy movie he's had in a long time because his movies have really been terrible in the last.
If I remember correctly, Surge was the great one that was at the gun show showing off all the new technology.
No.
Right?
Surge was
the fashion guy.
Pierce, what's his name? Bronson Pinchot, I think is his name, and he's like the lemon twist.
Yeah,
the little gay dude at the art gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get the fuck out of here. Or whatever he talks and stuff.
Yeah, you get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but anyways, he's in the new one. It was really good. The only person that didn't have a cameo in it was Chris Rock, who parked the cement truck at the Playboy Mansion.
I bet they couldn't get him.
$75,000 he made. First movie show ever. Said he spent that shit in about 15 minutes.
I don't doubt it.
He had a good time.
I don't doubt it.
All right, Gray, let's talk some serious stuff now. I'm trying to think of the word I would use here. You're the catalyst behind SOS, which is, tell us about your organization.
So SOS to us, it signifies help, but and that's kind of what we're doing. But SOS it stands for Season of Stories, and what we're utilizing is outdoors memorabilia, specifically journals, and we're going to send them on journeys, along with the highest quality heirloom gear for different types of hunting, fishing, outdoors activities. It's all going to be going on these journeys and going to be utilized by icons and leaders and celebrities and faces that are big in the different realms of those different hunting, fishing, I guess, activities. And basically, we're going to have them utilize a journal, and not in a way where it would be kind of writing down the conditions that were out whenever they, shot a limit, or where they were located, or what the wind was like. This is more about what traditional journaling is about, writing down a story that happened that day, what your feelings are like. And it's really going to be a way for these people to be candid about their experience, and to really be candid about what it is that we're trying to accomplish here. And what we're trying to accomplish is we're going to utilize the funds that we get from this to help cover costs associated with getting pre-cancer and other health screenings for our first responders. And that kind of goes back to really where where all this comes from. My brother-in-law, Wade Cannon, he was a firefighter here locally, here in Flower Mound, and he worked his tail off to get that. It was always a dream to be a part of the Flower Mound Department. It's one of the most sought after positions in the area, at least. And there's a lot of pride with that. And so he did that for a number of years. He graduated from a school down near Texas A&M. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a firefighter school down there. That's where he met his wife, and Aggie, Chelsea Cannon. And they moved back up here, and he finally got the position with working for Flower Mound Fire. Fast forward to 2020, and he had started to develop some stomach issues and digestive issues, and went to his doctor and told him about it, and they just kind of brushed it off and said, it's this or that, it's nothing major. But kind of all along he was kind of concerned. And then the problem started to get worse over time, and finally he couldn't get the sign off to be able to get the approval to get the with this particular one to get a colonoscopy, because he didn't meet the age threshold and he didn't have any familial history, and so really couldn't get it covered. So he paid for it out of pocket, and then so he sets it up, goes in, gets the procedure. They put you under for a little bit and go in and check and make sure everything's good to go. And at that time, they realized that there were some serious problems, and then they came out and let the family know, and kind of started the journey that he went on for the next 2 years. He, outwardly he was fit, in the greatest shape ever. You would never know there was anything wrong. They said that the stage 4 colon cancer that they caught at age 31 had started growing at the age of 29, and was directly related to his work as a firefighter and his exposure to different carcinogens. Right now they're saying that the number one cause of death for all firefighters is cancer. It's the number one cause of death. And what we're trying to do is to carry on Wade's legacy, and which was to check your rear. And we are going to help fund the underfunded departments in getting pre-cancer screening.
What does a pre-cancer screening cost?
So that's a great question. We're in the process of trying to align ourselves with different organizations. There are organizations that are for profit that provide these screenings. one such organization would be Frontline, and they're actually rather local, if I remember correctly. And they do basically head-to-toe screening. They show up with a truck or trailer or like an RV or something, and it's first responder walks in, and then they put them on the table and do head-to-toe inspections that include screening that would help them find digestive issues. Also, they do ultrasounds over their whole body. They do heart scans, things like that, if I remember correctly. But all of it basically to look at the main issues that the first responder firefighters are more likely to have because of their work, and trying to be able to find it before something major happens, like it did with Wade.
Did excuse me? Did he? I can't get it up. What year did he start having symptoms? Like, was it right away at 29?
So he, from what I understand, because I haven't heard anything otherwise from him whenever we spoke about it, or from my wife's family. I believe that the symptoms really started in early 2020, okay, and then they found it in the later part of 2020.
Right. So he wasn't trying to go get this colonoscopy for 2 years and kept getting denied.
Yeah.
But by the time that he did get the colonoscopy, it was pretty advanced.
Correct.
So I've read a little bit about them, and they're saying that the carcinogens could be absorbed through your skin.
You can inhale it, you can absorb it through your skin. You're going to find it, it's getting all over their bunker gear. It's in the fumes that they're breathing. It's everywhere. If you think about it as a kid, at least I did, we all knew that the black smoke from a burning plastic bag was not good to breathe in. Yeah. But this is what these guys are running into.
Yeah.
And their gear and stuff is so much better than it was 40, 50, 60 years ago. I mean, they ingest very little air now that's not clean when they're wearing their bunker gear. But the problem is after the fire's over, they got their bunker gear off and they're walking around and they still smell that stuff. I mean, my dad died of cancer and he was a fireman, but his was related to Marlboros and Winstons, I think, more than. But a big portion of all of his friends that I grew up as a kid with that were firemen, most all of them passed away from cancer. So, but the young guys, but they haven't given you a dollar figure on what it costs to do a body scan for them guys. I don't understand why the insurance companies, every insurance company out there, to me in the long run would be better off if they bought 1 million of these. If let's say Blue Cross Blue Shield bought 1 million of these scans off a company and said doing it, and it cost them, I don't know how much it cost. It cost them $100 million. Let's say $10 a deal, or $100, let's say, to do it. It seemed like in the long run they would save money, because it's all coming down to money. That's what this is all about.
That's correct.
But you don't know how much it costs for a scan.
So ultimately, just because we haven't aligned ourselves with that particular organization yet, or some others that offer some similar services, ultimately I can't give. I have an idea, but I can't give an exact figure on the cost for that per firefighter. I know that when this happened with Wade, the city of Flower Mound started implementing the policy changes that allows for them to utilize Frontline. And I know that they were able to get over 140 firefighters checked, and they do so regularly. And the city's able to afford that. I don't have an exact number figure because I don't know with all certainty what that is.
I had my heart, I can't remember what it was called. It was some kind of scan that stuck me in a little tube, and they sliced and they took 15,000 pictures or something. I mean, it was incredible what they did. But it cost me $350. It was going to cost $4,500 if I put it on my insurance. But it was in December, and I hadn't met my deductible yet, so they were going to charge me $4,500. I said, I'm not going to do it. I don't go to the doctor. I'm not going to do that. And they said, well, if you don't want to put on your insurance and you pay cash, we can do it. And I said, how much? And they was like, $350. I go, sign me up. So they could do that for $350, and you know they're making a profit, or they wouldn't be offering it to me for $350. They weren't doing it to lose $1,500. They were making money. They might have broke even, might have made $50, but if they can do that for $350, to me, that you ought to be able to do the body scan for probably close to that. And
so, and I think that your guess is really pretty close from what I'm reading, because the reason why I don't have a firm answer is because each city is going to have a different. They're probably going to have a different price based on the different policies, based on the different quantity of members that they have. But kind of looking anywhere in the, for what it costs the city of Flower Mound to get a year's scan for all of their members, I'm getting numbers, and this is not per person. This is for everybody as a whole, and the 140 members was anywhere from 30 to 65K.
For how many people?
A little over 140.
That's still not bad, but cities' budgets, I don't know about a big city budget. A lot of them towns are having trouble making ends meet right now. It's tough without getting government grants and having to borrow money on tax dollars and stuff. But still, for a size Flower Mound, I'm guessing there's 100,000 people there.
Around that, yeah.
And it was $30,000 to $60,000, you said?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to nail that number down exactly, as I'm not a part of the accounting side of that.
$60,000. How many employees is it they're doing?
140.
140. So yeah, it's 60,000 at 140 people would be
less than $600 a person.
So it's really about $450 a person, I think, if I'm doing the math right. At 60,000, I think that would be $450 a person.
I'll just double check your math.
Okay.
$428.57.
Okay. Well, I'm just
pretty close.
Around $450 a person. So that's really that's very reasonable. They should be able to afford to do that. Here's I'm playing the devil's advocate here, because just from the old mayor side and having to listen to another department bitch, it was a small town, completely different. But then your cops are going to say, hey, well, what about us? And then the guys that work at the sewer plant are going to say, what about us? And so if you're going to do it, the best way to do it is to cover all city employees and offer them that. Because here's the thing. If you say to all the city employees, let's say Flower Mound has 1,000 or they had 140 police firemen, is that what you said? Let's say they have 500 employees for the whole city of Flower Mound. They're going to offer it to 500. They're going to have 200 people take them up on that scan. That's what's going to happen. Even the 140 firemen, not all 140 firemen are going to go unless they have to go.
And they do.
Well, if they have to go, then they're going to go do it. But otherwise, they're not going to do it. But if you offered it to...
It's a part of their yearly physical.
I think it's a good idea. And I think for all employees do it. But you should probably bump that up to going to cost you $120,000.
But what if you made the city employees pay for half of it?
Why would you make them pay for half? Now, I think that's a good idea, though.
So you can offer it to more people. It's going to cost you $200 to get this scan. We'll pay the other $250.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, we need to do it for free, but we can't afford that because it's life. That's the way life is. Life's expensive and everything's about money. It's not fair for the scan companies to do it for free, and it's not fair for that's to me. It's not. If you tell someone, hey, for $200 you can get your full body computer,
right?
I'd go do it for $200, wouldn't you?
Fuck yeah,
in a heartbeat. I mean, I think that's a great deal.
Yeah.
I don't understand why all insurance companies don't offer this. Every one of them. If you've got health insurance for somebody, they're going to save money in the long run because that $250 it's going to cost them to do that scan, if they catch cancer soon enough, they're going to save millions of dollars.
That's your problem right there.
No. The insurance companies will save millions of dollars.
But
you don't think the insurance companies won't save $1 million? You think they're in bed with the hospitals?
I think hospitals make more money to get you on that hamster wheel. Why?
Yes, you're right.
I'm not gonna make this like a political rant here, but yeah,
it's not political.
There's a lot of
the people in power.
There's a lot of fuckery going on in the way that we've set up our system.
Right.
It's way more. You make way more money treating these things than preventing these things.
Yes, you are correct. But I don't think that's political. That's just the way it is. That's big business, and that's the way they do shit.
Right.
And everybody in charge is responsible for these problems.
I should say conspiracy, because it's kind of a, why would they set up a system where we don't want to prevent heart disease and cancer and just this litany, just this toxic shit that we're all as Americans taking into our bodies? It's because the end game is there for them.
This is the profit. So what is the city of Flower Mound? Have they agreed to this? Because if Flower Mound does it, then Plano has to do it, and then Frisco has to do it, and then Dallas has to do it, and they all should do it.
And it's catching on.
And it should be. And if you cared about your employees, that's what you would do. I mean, we've got a company here, a big oil company just sold, and the new company come in from Pakistan and bought them. And guess what? No health insurance, no 401ks, no nothing. They don't care about their employees. And that's what these big conglomerates, a lot of them do. And unfortunately, that's what that falls on a lot of this stuff. So the city of Flower Mound is agreeing to do this?
Yes, and it's specifically for for first responders because of their exposure levels to these carcinogens. And I believe, and to kind of circle back on where your head was at as far as wanting everybody to be able to get scanned, and I totally agree with you. And a lot of this has a lot to do with the fact that current policies for medical practice state that there are age thresholds of the likelihood of this affecting somebody of this age is far less than somebody else, but they make no allowances based upon your exposure level in your work. And so that's why companies like who we're trying to align ourselves with will be that's why they come in and do this. That's why they come in and do it and they're able to set it at an affordable rate. Now, to get to that affordable side, it's going to be on these kind of bigger departments that you're going to see, and where you'd kind of mentioned that there are smaller cities, smaller towns. That's who we're going to go after. That's who we're going to try and help, is those towns, those cities that don't have the budgets that towns like Flower Mound have. Mm-hmm. And so that's who we're trying to help, is the people that really just won't have that funding based on kind of their own cities.
Now, what did they say? What did they initially think was wrong with Wade? Whether like they think he had like diverticulitis or some digestive issue?
Yeah, all of those things. It just they treated it as if it was not a major issue. Right. And really what they wanted was to get a colonoscopy, or to be able to at least check that off of the list of possibilities. And that's another thing that you don't really think of as far as the good that this is going to do, because there's a lot of people out there that get exposed to this stuff, and just having that peace of mind knowing that you're going to be able to get scanned and that everything's good. Now you can take a deep breath, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question. You don't have to answer it if you're uncomfortable, but was there any sort of payout for Wade for this on the city front, or with him signing on the dotted line? Did that null and void anything?
So with that being said, I think that everybody in an industry or in working like that is going to have life insurance. And I think that and then the state and the area, I think a lot of his family, his wife Chelsea, and his son Stratton, my nephew, they will be taken care of, because this was listed as occupational colon cancer.
So the city of Flower Mound done a settlement with them then.
That's what, yeah.
I can't say for certain, but I can say that the state
is taking responsibility for it then.
Because that's kind of a tricky thing too, isn't it? Because like you signed up for this job, and
That's a hard deal because that's a TML thing, which is Texas Municipality League, I'm sure, because they do a lot of the insurance. Some cities opt out of the state stuff, like some schools opt out of the school deal. So I don't know what the exact ruling is on that, but
I'm just thinking of like 9/11, like they fought
Yes.
those firefighters tooth and nail that developed like cancer that were going into the World Trade Center and I think asbestos and all this other stuff, and they fought those guys tooth and nail.
And they're still fighting them.
Whenever they came up sick. It's like, no, we're not paying that. So I didn't know what Wade's circumstances were.
some cities are different because some cities are more, I'm going to say, employee friendly,
Right.
than some other states are, and you get a new administration running it, and some are more than others. And it's a horrible tragedy. Cancer is a horrible part of our life, and it's going to be forever. And I mean, you drive through every town in America right now, and every new hospital building is a big cancer center everywhere. You see them. Every city's got a huge cancer center. You can go in the middle of the Midwest and be a town of 25,000, and they got this huge, biggest building in town, and it's an oncology center.
Yeah.
So there is definitely money to be made, and there's a lot of evil there, but there's a lot of people trying to fix what they can. I don't know that we've got any closer to cancer. It's crazy. Is cancer research better now than it was 20 years ago? Surely it has to be. But there's so many more people have cancer than used to.
But I think it's like Wade's circumstances where there's so much red tape in getting that initial screening and getting it in time.
Yeah, and I don't get the red tape.
And that's what we're trying to do is rather than take on the fight of trying to go after cancer and end cancer, because it's not going anywhere. Yeah. But now we're going to try and do the next best thing, and that's try and catch cancer before it becomes something major. And kind of circling back on what y'all had been talking about as far as firefighters in 9/11 being affected by the dusts and the cancers that came from just being at the site for the months on end. That my family, Wade's family, I joined everybody, and we went to in September of last year, went to the International Fallen Firefighters Memorial in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And if you've never been, if you've never heard of it, the memorial site itself is extremely powerful, and it's beautiful. And it's meant to, it's a part of the International Firefighters Association between the United States and Canada. And they basically have a name on the wall for every fallen firefighter that they can find. And as of recently, they've started adding the names of firefighters that had been diagnosed with cancer that was deemed to be occupational. And then on top of that as well, there is another area on the wall that does show fallen firefighters from after the date of 9/11 that passed away due to complications as well.
Yeah, being a fireman, that's one of the hazards. Is going to be all the stuff you intake. Outside of all the dangers you have of going in a building on fire, rescuing a kid, going to a wreck where there's cars and there's fuel spilled everywhere and there's hot wires and it just takes something to ignite and you're on fire. And then having to deal with the side effects from stuff that you ingest makes for a tough job. Being a fireman's a special job. Any first responder's job is. I mean, people don't realize how much danger they put themselves in every single day. It just takes one bad thing to happen to go from not being a really big problem to a major problem.
Absolutely.
What is the steps moving forward for y'all now with SOS? What's the future here?
All right. So we wanted to kind of start. We're as grassroots as it gets. Really, right now, kind of the main people working on it, like I said, are my wife and I, Jessica, and we've got Sam Thrash from the Flower Mound Firefighters Association, and then we've also got a member of the duck hunting community. If you're familiar with David Gaston and Gaston Custom Calls, his grandson Gaston Farr has been absolutely a massive help in the the business side, as far as like getting everything with the LLC and the EIN and making it to where we can start bringing in funds. Now that we've got that, we can actually start applying for nonprofit status, and we'll be starting that in the next couple days, actually, and then submitting that to the IRS to hopefully receive 501c3 status. From there, we're going to start September 1st with an awesome package. Season 1 is going to be dedicated to waterfowl. That's why I reached out to you. Just kind of pick your brain a little bit, and then we started having conversations about coming onto the podcast, which is amazing, and thank you guys. But we're starting with a journal, leather-bound journal of the highest quality, created by a company here locally called Odin Leather. And that's going to be in the package. It's all going to be traveling in a Pelican case. We're going to be covering the costs of the shipping to make it to where, and this has been the most disarming thing, is reaching out to these companies that constantly get asked, hey, can you give? And we're not asking for that. We're asking for participation. And so we're saying, hey, all you got to do is accept our package, take it out hunting like you're already going to be doing, and then just take an hour or two maybe and journal on it, and then just agree to take it to the post office, or just drop off where you take your mail to, and send the package to the next storyteller. And that'll be starting September 1st with Joey D'Amico, and we're going to be sending that up to Canada with him. And then it's going to be going on the journey starting from there. We're hoping to have different people from young up-and-coming call makers and world champions in that realm to people involved with gear in the waterfowl industry. We're sending it to different locations, different sides of the country. And then ultimately it's going to come back. It's going to be full. And we're going to raffle off an opportunity to be the last storyteller, and the only people outside of the storytellers that'll get a chance to read the contents, because it's going to be classified so that everybody feels truly candid in their responses, and it's not going to be released to the world. We're going to be following the journey on social media with it, and kind of posting up just updates of where it's been and where it's headed, and just little snippets to kind of give a little bit of a hint of what it's got. We're going to be showing kind of pictures of the gear, which we've got an incredible duck call being made by Josh Raggio. We've got Gaston Custom Calls is going to be making the spec call. We've got an amazing lanyard getting made. We're working on figuring out kind of who's going to make the blind bag that'll be included with it. Again, all truly heirloom quality goods. We've got Coon Creek Duck Calls is going to be making the whistle that'll go on the lanyard. We're also going to be having a prototype knife that will be for the waterfowl community, that is going to be made by a firefighter that'll be included in the package as well. There's going to be any number of really, really cool one-off, just the highest quality goods and calls possible to put in here, and then that'll get to be used by every storyteller, and ultimately the people that win the raffle to utilize it, and then they'll get to storytell as well, and then it's going to go to auction, and we're going to try and raise as much money along the way and with the auction to be able to cover as many screenings as possible in the areas that just don't have the budget to cover that.
It's a really good thing.
Every volunteer fire department in America.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
Small towns can't afford that kind of money for their and that's sad, but that's very true. I mean, we've got 25 firemen in Knox City. It's going to cost them $10,000. Mm-hmm. And the cities do not have $10,000 extra right now. I mean, little businesses are leaving small towns like crazy.
I just looked it up. Close to 70% of firefighters will develop cancer.
Wow. I wonder if that's the leading industry in the country.
I'm not sure. It says they're twice as likely for testicular cancer, twice as likely for mesothelioma, twice as time and a half for multiple myeloma, time and a half for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
I wonder what a coal miner's
cancer.
is.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the only industry I could think of maybe that would have a higher that or paint and body guys that are spraying paint all day long.
Mm-hmm. I could probably look that up. Leading industry for cancer.
Yeah, that's well, what you're doing is a great thing. So how do people sign up to help with this?
I've got my own personal Facebooks and Instagrams, but really the best way to reach out is going to be through our website, which is under development right now. That's going to be seasonofstories.org. And then we've also got Season of Stories on Instagram, and then we're working on Season of Stories on Facebook. And you'll be able to message us. We're going to check the messages as often as possible. We're going to set up a clickable area to where if you'd like to just donate, we'll take $1, we'll take $5, whatever you've got to help us get the ball rolling with this so that we can start trying to help as many departments get their screenings as possible. We'll take it. We're looking for people that have experience in this sort of thing that can help me and help my wife and help all. Like, we've done this without having any experience at all. And we can't do it without help. So if you know anybody that has experience with this sort of thing and has the passion for what we're doing, send them our way.
Yeah. I'm looking it up now. So I don't know if this list, I've got a list of about 8 different professions, and I don't know how they've ranked them. It's not alphabetical, but I don't know if it's percentages or whatever, but this is the list. Flight attendants. I guess, I don't know.
That's
flight attendants,
cancer, I guess.
Flight
maybe.
attendants and other air crew face higher cancer risk because of their environment. Pilots, night shift workers, rubber manufacturers, construction workers, nail salon technicians, agriculture workers, firefighters.
So firefighters not even a top 7?
No, like I said, I don't know how. I don't know how this list was.
Flight attendant one shocks me. That would have been one of the last things I would think about.
I don't know, but like I said, I don't.
Maybe it's because of the altitude and like exposure to what our atmosphere kind of protects us from.
I have no idea. That's just crazy that them and pilots would be on there.
It said night shift workers is because what you're doing to your body, becoming nocturnal, basically. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of stressing your body that way. Like I said, I don't know how that list was constructed as far as why they put flight attendants first, but it's on the list.
I had an interesting cancer conversation with a gentleman the other day that's a pretty bright man. And he told me, we were talking about ivermectin. He goes, do you take ivermectin? I said, yeah, I take it year round. I take it every 3 weeks. I take 2 cc's basically every 3 weeks. He goes, you'll never have cancer. I go, huh? He goes, you'll never have cancer if you have ivermectin in your system. Well, I hope you're right. So 20 years from now, if I don't have cancer, we'll know that ivermectin
worked.
Yeah, that was so maybe it's cheap. Everybody needs to take ivermectin. It ain't gonna hurt you.
Yeah. How did you get the idea to do this traveling journal?
Man, it's interesting because it's evolved quite a bit. Essentially, there's a quote that was read at Wade's funeral, Wade's memorial, that really, and I want to make sure that I always say it correctly. I say it all the time, but I just want to make sure that I say it correctly. Hold on 1 second. Because towards the end of Wade's life, he started journaling in his phone, and Chelsea kind of went through a lot of the things that he had said. And probably the most powerful thing that he said through his journaling was, if you ever want to visit, leave the steel and concrete behind and go see the beauty of God's natural creation. What a wonderful life. Yeah. And thinking about that, and then thinking about I'm just a duck hunter. And sometimes I think about what it's like to be Jeff Stanfield out there in the field. And uh, maybe this is an opportunity to do that. And then getting that opportunity to read that is going to help save some lives.
Yeah. So everybody that gets this journal, they'll be able to read back and see what the other guys wrote and then write their own little blog and then ship it off to the next guy.
Exactly. And, I'm constantly in contact with Joey because he's going to set it may be a good thing or a bad thing, but, and I think he's the right guy for the job, but he's going to set the par for what everybody else is going to see. He already journals and we talk about it quite a bit, just through his, the message that he gives out. He's a godly man, and we've had a lot of conversations about that, and being able to write about your feelings is a cathartic thing that everybody should be able to do. And also being able to write about the funny time that your buddy went out to retrieve and fell in and filled their waders, that's great. Getting to take your nephew or your son or go out with your grandpa one last time or go out with a family member or a new friend, that's all a memory. And that's a memory that you're going to have forever. I've got, you have gear like, this duck call right here. I look at Cocobolo as kind of like the most iconic looking material for duck calls, but that right there, me holding this is a tangible hard drive to the memories of the best days of my life. I mean, whether I'm killing something or not, I'm out there with my friends. I'm out there making memories, and I'm having a great time doing it. Just having something like that, and then a journal. This entire package is going to be a powerful reminder of these amazing memories that these icons are having.
You get it. You get what's important.
Now, is one person going to win everything, or are we going to like one person gets the duck call, one person gets the lanyard, one person gets the journal?
The whole package is one person.
Everything's going to go to one guy or one lady.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be definitely be a piece of history.
And this is going to be a raffle?
No, that's going to be an auction. We are going to be offering a raffle throughout the year. We've got to get it set up so that we can make sure that there's complications with that as far as like, do you hand out a raffle ticket with a number on it? Across the country or the world. We need to make sure that the location and everything like that is correct. And so that people know exactly what they're winning. We want to make sure that that's all included. We'll have that all kind of solidified here in the coming months. Definitely before September, we'll have the answers for everything included in it. I can't necessarily say exactly what it is yet, but it's all really, really exciting stuff as far as like, there's going to be a hunt involved. It's going to be a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's going to be with gear that you're never going to get to see again. Never going to get to use again. And it really is going to be an opportunity to see what these other hunters have done, and when nobody else has gotten that chance at all.
I'll do something for y'all. I will give away a hunt for November 18th, 19th, and 20th, our Boss Steel Reserve hunt. I will give one spot away for a 3-day hunt, lodging, meals to y'all that y'all can raffle off sometime in September and October. That way they have time who wins it to show up in November.
That would be amazing.
Yep, I will do that. And that's a 3-day hunt, lodging, and meals, November 18th, 19th, and 20th. For our Steel Reserve hunt, we will give away a spot for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Very well. It's not a once in a lifetime deal because they come hunt every year. I got 90 more days other than those 3 days if they want to book a hunt. If I've got some dates left, but I will do that, and that's going to be a really good time because there's going to be a lot of industry leaders here, and there'll be a lot of really cool things. We're going to have a lot of giveaways up here those 3 days. So, and I still have room for some other hunters, but yeah, November 18th, 19th, and 20th, we'll give that to y'all, and hope y'all raise a bunch of money with it. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you raffle tickets for $1,000 a piece and you sell 10 of them, or if you raffle off 20,000 tickets at $1 a piece. Whatever y'all want to do, that's y'all's business. Just have that winner get a hold of me as soon as y'all figure it out.
Thank you. Just from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very, very welcome. My dad was a fireman. I've got a lot of this. This opens up a lot of memories for me, from the hunting with my dad to my dad being a fireman and all his old friends that I grew up with that passed away from cancer. And I don't know how much of it was from Winston's and how much of it was from Dill. My dad died on his deathbed saying he died from smoking. You've heard him, Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, he said that over and over and over again. But he thought he got mesothelioma from Roundup because he saw the commercials.
He was ready to get a hold of that lawsuit.
Yeah, always. Then we sprayed some Roundup around here, and I've got cancer, so we got to see about getting on that.
RFK did that,
He's the one that started that. What do they call that?
The glyphosate.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
What's the name of that when they have that class action lawsuit?
Yeah.
Companies do that.
I'm pretty sure it was him.
Companies do that themselves. So once they settle that, they don't ever have to pay another claim again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why you get the Camp Lejeune deal that they're doing right now with the water or whatever it is. Yeah, the companies will come out and set that up like if you had a bad Viagra, we'll just say, if they had a class action lawsuit on Viagra, and you ever had whatever it was that happened from it, they do that because once they settle that lawsuit and they stick $100 million over there, the people get it. They all get their share of a check, $1,000 a piece. You can't sue them anymore.
Yeah, it was Monsanto, the Monsanto lawsuit.
But it was a
just
classic.
Look at the movie Aaron Brockovich.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
The same exact deal. That shows, that's like the show The Resident that's on Netflix. It's just a show, but it shows the evil side of cancer hospitals and treatments. She's a famous oncologist. What she do, she's opened up her own private clinic. People that have no chance in hell of surviving, or people that have survivable cancer, giving them treatments they don't need and billing the insurance companies for a ton of money and getting wealthy. And there's a lot of that shit goes on. I hate to say that, but that is very, very, very true. There are a lot of shitty doctors out there. Sure. Not bad doctors, just evil and greedy doctors is the word I'm looking for. And then there's a lot of really, really good doctors. We have a lady that's a ER doctor here, a traveling doctor. She's a good lady and has a good heart. She's a great person, and it's a shame she doesn't have a big practice somewhere because she has such a good heart and good people.
Right.
But she does it for the right reasons.
Well, that was the whole premise behind Dope Sick. I can't remember what drug it was now because I watched it a couple years ago. But they paid off these doctors to get them on.
Oh, it was goddamn, what's the
name?
No, it wasn't hydrocodone. It's
methadone.
No.
God
dang it!
I've watched the damn show.
Dennis gives it to you. You got to have a special deal to get it though. Oxycontin.
Oxycontin. That's right.
Oxy is the one that
That's right.
Yeah.
But they started realizing like how bad people were going to get addicted to it, and how because it was supposed to be non-habit forming and all this other shit, but basically like over time you would basically fry your nerve endings. So if you were taking, and I don't remember the dosage, but let's say you're taking 100, in 6 months you got to start taking 150, and in 3 months you got to start taking 200, and they just kept making the tablets bigger.
Ain't that amazing to think? And I had a lady in court one time came to me, and she was getting 320 or 360 hydrocodone a month. She was taking 12 per day. And then my next dumb question I asked her, do you have a job? Well, who the hell can go to work and take 12 hydrocodone a day? Mm-hmm. You can't. But 360 pills. And it's a money grab. Every one of them. Anyways, we got off a tangent here, but what you're doing is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I mean, it makes me feel really good that people have a heart like this. And your brother-in-law must have meant a lot to you. And he was really loved. And God bless him for that. And God bless y'all for what you're doing.
I appreciate that. And I mean, with the help that you guys are doing and helping spread our message, again, I did not know Wade my whole life. It was my wife's brother. I knew him since 2019, just maybe a year before his diagnosis. And I mean, from that point forward, you know, we've got a really, really close knit family, and there were a lot of lessons that I learned as far as the importance of utilizing and cherishing that family time. And because I'm guilty of that, I'm guilty of not taking advantage of every opportunity to spend time. And maybe this is a penance. Maybe this is maybe I feel guilty. I don't know, but I know that the way that I interpret his message was to help as many people and prevent this from happening to the next person, and not letting or allowing or helping prevent another family from having to go through what the Cannons have had to go through. And I think that, honestly, you know, his message was to check your rear. And I think that kind of can go across to everything, to everyone. And it doesn't just have to be a firefighter. It's just be cognizant of your health, and know that you could be the healthiest looking person, feeling person, but something may be there underneath and growing, metastasizing, and getting worse. And then if you don't catch it in time, well, yeah.
Getting the butt checked is so tough too. That is the hardest thing for a man to do.
Gotta get cleaned out.
There's two options.
I've done it twice.
There's two options. You can get you can get what's called you can get a colonoscopy, and then there's another way now called Cologuard.
Yeah, they call me all the freaking time. I got the box at my house. I've had it for a year.
Hopefully not.
No. I keep putting it off. Well, you've already paid for it, sir. It's just hard to shit in a box. You're right. It is something we should do. My doctor gets on my rear about that.
He wants to get in your
all
rear
the time. Well, he did one time, and that was very But for a man, it's so hard. But it's something we all need to do, and I need to do it again. I do. I just and when you get older, a lot of times I don't fear death. I don't fear dying. I just hate to lose my grandkids. It's more, and my kids. I want to be around my family. And
well, you're not going to lose them. They're going to lose you.
No, I know that. And so I've got the better end of that deal. But it's just leaving a void, and you worry about being able to provide, make sure they have this. And, you don't want your loved ones to ever have a worse life than you had. You want them to have a better life, or you should be that way. There's some greedy sumbitches out there that don't think that way. But, and your brother-in-law, probably at the end, he was probably ready to go. They're tired. They're wore out. They've quit fighting. And if he knows his family's taken care of, then he's done his job. He had the easy end of the deal. The hard end is his family having to pick the pieces up because he's not there. And that's a hard deal to deal with. I mean, it really is.
And I've seen it firsthand. And the Cannons are some of the strongest people I know. And I mean, Chelsea in particular, his son that he never got to meet, she was, their son was born 3 months after he passed away.
That's a tough deal. But that little boy never did know. He just knows his dad died. He doesn't. That's easier than having a 7-year-old or 6-year-old or 4-year-old.
Yeah, but it's probably harder on Wade.
Yes.
Knowing that you're not going
to. That was tough for him like that. I mean, it's just.
Either way, it's going to be impossible.
Life is not fair. You can open up a book every day, a paper, they don't papers no more, and you can see people that tragedy happens to good people all the time and doesn't make sense. And all you can do is try to make the life better and make their loved ones and survivors better life. That's all we can do. And
just trying to have a positive effect on the world.
And find solace.
Tribe mentality. Takes a village.
Knowing that they're in a better place. That was when my dad died. It was a whole different deal because he was 77 years old. He had lived a full life. He was ready to.
He met the life expectancy in America.
Oh, and the way his lifestyle, he blew that some bitch out of the water.
Right.
If anybody knew my dad, would have told you when he was 35, he ain't gonna see 50.
Right.
But he lived to be 77, and he loved his family to death, and he loved his grandsons. I mean, he did. He loved his grandsons, and he loved my grandkids. But when he died, I was so happy for him because he wasn't hurting no more. And so that was the positive part about my dad passing away is when he finally died, and it's a tough deal for people that have cancer and their families go through. And it's a shame that we can't find something to fix this problem. It really is. All the shit we can do, and we can't fix cancer, and that's terrible.
Well, and just watching these strong men just waste away, just becoming a shell of themselves. That's what'll rip you up, is just knowing how they were just even 6 months prior to when they finally pass away, and just how strong and vibrant they were. And like Ron had this big laugh and just a big personality, and like you saw him towards the end, and he could barely get out a sentence. And that's the tough part.
When he came out here and did our last, we was going to have him do a podcast, and Tony bring him in the hospital, and he come in with a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. He couldn't make it, and he walked out the door, and he said, "I'm sorry." And it killed me, because I was the strongest, roughest, toughest man I'd ever known in my life. And cancer took every bit of that away from him. And every family goes through this. It's not just our family. Every family's gone through this. I don't know a family that's not been affected by cancer. No. And it's evil to think that there's stuff out there that we're doing that could be preventable, that wealthy people hide from us. And our food is probably the number one thing that's killing us. And they don't do shit about fixing that.
Sugar. Because that was Ron's big thing towards, what did he didn't have lung cancer first. He had something else.
Yes, he had a onset of leukemia. And I can't remember the name of it now, but he had leukemia.
But anyway, he got on food grade hydrogen peroxide. Had a couple guys in town beat cancer with food grade hydrogen peroxide.
Stage 4 guys.
Yeah. Like they were crossing the threshold of death's door when they started this thing, and it cured them. They're cancer free today. So anyway, but what Ron learned in kind of going down that food grade hydrogen peroxide thing is cancer loves sugar. It loves sugar.
Ron loves sugar.
And Ron loves sugar. So, I mean, you look at how much sugar the average American consumes, and, I'm not saying that is the end all be all of what's causing cancer in a lot of people, but it definitely contributes, just the amount of refined sugar that we ingest every day as Americans.
There's something that happened between 1900 and today that cancer has exploded. Now, there's more people here, of
and
course,
we live longer.
And we do live longer, because they say every man's going to get prostate cancer. If you live long enough, eventually you're going to get prostate cancer.
Right.
But in that time frame, there's something we have done. It's kind of like the peanut allergies. Something happened with all these kids that are allergic to peanuts, because 50 years ago, there wasn't hardly anybody allergic to peanuts. So there's definitely has been something happened.
So my dad, he developed prostate cancer twice. And about a year prior to Wade's diagnosis is when my dad passed away. And my dad was a Marine. And ultimately what killed him was his exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Right.
And so it was, our family's kind of gone through the ringer. And as far as sugar, you are damn right. Mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly believe that, but it doesn't stop me. I'm so guilty. I've got such a sweet tooth, but I completely agree as far as sugar definitely feeds cancer.
Yeah. Oh, and don't get me wrong. Ron didn't cut out sugar whenever he found out how bad sugar was for you. Like, he wasn't cutting that out, but I remember him telling me, like, cancer loves a sugar-rich environment. And Ron, if you knew Ron, like, if it was strawberry shortcake night, he was having the thing.
I think he looked forward to the last season he was at the lodge. He couldn't get around very well, so he would just pick his bowl up and and the girls at work here just waited on him like he was their grandfather, and so they'd go get him shit. So. But yeah, he loved that sugar. But sugar is definitely something that's not healthy for us. We all know that. I mean, you two guys are both fit and work out and stuff all the time. I don't eat much. So y'all are both in shape. I'm not. But I've got to cut out sugars because sugars are bad. Mm-hmm. Y'all don't. Gray, I don't know about you, but Andy, you don't hardly have any sugar at all.
No, probably not.
I mean, other than an occasional dessert. You don't.
I do put it in my coffee every morning. That's like my vice. I've got to have my coffee. I do 2 scoops of sugar and a little bit of creamer. But, I mean, throughout the day, I really don't know. There's probably not much sugar in my diet other than what I would naturally get in, like, fruit and stuff. But
that's healthy sugar, though, right?
Your body doesn't know a difference.
So it doesn't, that there's no such thing as a healthy sugar between fruit and.
No, I mean, there's sugar that you can avoid and sugar that you can't. I mean, I'm not going to say cut out fruits and vegetables, or fruits, but yeah, your body it can't tell the difference.
I think it's, refined sugars and things like that.
Yeah.
Sugar added basically is really the real culprit. And to answer your question, I haven't cut a whole lot of sugar out of my diet, but I've been working on it. I would say that, my vice is probably a little bit of a candy fix here and there, but yeah, that's my vice.
So when your dad's being exposed to Agent Orange, what did he have any like symptoms throughout his life in being exposed to that?
So in 1990 was whenever he was first diagnosed. And that was kind of his real big battle with it, and went through, chemotherapy, for a period of time. I was young. I was born in 85. So I don't remember completely all of it. I do remember seeing him in a wheelchair. And then he beat it, and went into remission for a number of years, and kind of a number of years later, I believe the late 90s is whenever it reared its mid to late 90s is whenever it kind of reared its ugly head again. On top of that, he had kidney issues, and then ultimately it affected his brain. He had dementia. He spent the last 10 years of his life 10-ish years of his life in a veterans home for memory support. And yeah, it was watching somebody turn into a shell is really the best descriptor of that. But yeah, any number of things. I mean, Agent Orange was bad stuff.
Now, who sprayed that? Was it the Americans or was it
the Americans? They were trying to defoliate the jungle
so that they could fight.
Yeah, they didn't
know.
I'm not getting into politics on this part, but that was a proxy deal set up. It was just all about same thing every other fucking war except World War II, probably one was all about money, and it was a horrible deal. And they used our soldiers as guinea pigs, and they have for years. And they sprayed that shit all over. And that's funny you talk about that because I was at the age, I was a toddler basically when Vietnam War ended. I was born in 68, so I don't remember nothing about the Vietnam War other than the news. I remember Richard Nixon flying away when he got impeached. That's probably one of my first memories, and I remember all about Watergate when I was a little kid. You'd hear it on the news. I didn't know nothing about it, but I remember men coming home at that time from Vietnam and how many of them were sick. And the word Agent Orange you heard all the time.
Right.
I mean, we were basically just drenching them in Roundup every day, I think. I don't know exactly what Agent Orange was, but I think it's the same shit that they defoliate. I've always said before out here they defoliate cotton. If you spray something on it and it kills a freaking plant that can grow anywhere, it can't be good for us. I mean, it can't be good for us.
Well, we had that one guy that hunted with us, and he was exposed to it. Yeah, but it like fried his nerve endings, didn't it?
He was really, really messed up, bad, stuttered, horrible. I mean, like I can talk like a stutter, and it was horrible. And I thought he was jacking with me when he called me to hunt because he was like, and it was like 11 o'clock at night during hunting season, and I thought somebody's jacking with me, and I was like, who the fuck is this, And then, he told me his name and stuff, and then he booked a hunt and was going to send a deposit. Never heard from him again. And then like 3 weeks later, I get this same stuttering guy calls me, and he's in town wanting directions to the lodge, and they show up. And he was bad shape. Like my guide had to help him out of the hole, had to help him pee. It was bad. And the guy's dying. He come back 3 years later and he was completely fine. Completely fine. But they'd found whatever was wrong, whatever kind of, and he didn't stutter, and he was a normal and lived a normal 10 years before he passed away. But it's just tragic how we use those people that way. And never took responsibility for it really either. Just covered it up. But Agent Orange was some bad stuff.
Ultimately that the Veterans Administration did deem that is what killed my dad. And so it has helped with my mom and everything because, it left a giant hole in our family. And so she, obviously I don't know the details of exactly what they did to help, but, it it's something.
Yeah.
They need to
But
take
it's not gonna replace
accountability.
my dad.
They need to take accountability, and they can't replace people, but they weren't ever worried about the person that was there. They didn't care. It was their end game, and we were just pawns, and it's a shame. But they should take care of them. They should take responsibility. If you provide someone in a situation, or you put someone in a situation that you employ, and you purposefully do something to them, then you should be held accountable. I mean, there's places people get cancer that work every place in the world, and they're not doing it on purpose. Agent Orange was sprayed on them guys on intently, and that's why they did it. Yeah. And that's a bad thing. You know, I'm not a big Biden guy, but he talks about his son that died. His son died of exposure to those fires in Iraq and Iran. And I'm really surprised he doesn't push more to help those people than just to talk about it, because that was a serious problem that happened to a lot of the veterans that were in Desert Storm and Afghanistan and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So you've sent us a video. So before we let you go, do you want us to play part of this video and we can all kind of hear a little bit of Wade's story? Do you want to play the YouTube video or the Google Drive that you sent?
I'm open to whatever. I can't remember how far along it goes in, but it's a number of different people being interviewed, but primarily it's him in the beginning and you know, talking about everything that's kind of happened with him.
On the YouTube video or the Google Drive?
They're the same video.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah. Do you just want to try to take it from the top, and you can maybe guide me on where we can get a little bit of his words?
I mean, a lot of the narration is just him. It was done by the local firefighters, specifically, you know, Sam Thrash is that's one of his skills is kind of production and social media and websites. And I mean, he even has his own podcast, Fall Obsession, and we're going to be going on there next week as well. So you guys are the first, but you know, you kind of see some of his work earlier, but again, in that video, it's explaining the need for getting checked. It also talks about one of the firefighters that it actually helped, because it interviews him and talks about how early detection is key.
Okay, so we'll just take it from the top, and you can guide us a little bit here. How about that?
Okay.
Let me try something real quick, because like I said earlier, this is the maiden voyage on trying to do it this way.
You do a good job, Andy.
I know.
Give yourself a raise.
I know.
My name is Wade Cannon. I'm 31 years old. I've worked for the Flower Mound Fire Department as a firefighter paramedic for almost 5 years. And back in September 30th, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Prior to that, I felt super healthy, no medical conditions. I was working out about 4 to 5 days a week, outdoors all the time, hiking, and felt great. Then about 4 months prior to being diagnosed, I started having some symptoms and kind of some stuff that had me a little concerned, and went to my doctor and talked to my doctor about possibly getting a colonoscopy, and he kind of blew it off and was like, "Man, you're too young to worry about anything like that." And I kind of persisted. I was like, "Yeah, I kind of want to go get a colonoscopy. Like, I need your referral." Sure enough, that led to me finding out I had colon cancer. So mine is stage 4 because my cancer's already spread. It didn't stay in the colon. We had waited a little too long to find it. It had spread well before I ever had any symptoms or anything like that going on. Mine in particular spread to my lymph nodes, and then to my liver, and then we haven't found it to have spread anywhere beyond that at this point. So for me, that meant I was going to have surgery to remove the tumor in my colon, and then we would start chemo. The plan for me is to do somewhere between 8 and 12 treatments at this point. I'm doing a pretty aggressive
did over 20.
treatment plan.
Over 20 he did?
It's working. Then great, we stick with this, and if not, then we potentially go down to MD Anderson and for a clinical trial or something along those lines.
So you said he did over 20 and they were hoping to do 12?
Yeah, and he was doing a really aggressive version of it, primarily because of, he was, I mean, you could see the pictures of him. He was a healthy, fit man. And they knew that, it was like, we got to try and catch this as fast as possible. We got to, turn it around. So they did the aggressive chemotherapy, and that's what kind of helped prolong his life. But that part's not fun at all. I mean, it's so bad on your body that his dog, she could smell the poison coming out of his skin and wouldn't come near him.
No way.
The weeks that he had chemo.
Wow. Tough man. And like Jeff said earlier, it's really, really good what you guys are doing and trying to continue on his legacy. And yeah, we're glad to be able to help in any way that we can. And, you're doing a really, really good thing. So my hat is off to you, and you got one tough family that you're in.
Yeah, the Cannons are amazing.
When you figure out how you want to do the raffle on the hunt, let me know, and I'll get you some avenues to help share that, to help get y'all some sales on that.
I'll see you next week.
Yep, we'll be at Squad Fest. We look forward to seeing you there. Come by and see us. We'll be at the Boss booth. Everybody else come by. St. Louis at, I don't remember the name of the park, July 19th and 20th. Be the park on the north side of St. Charles, Missouri, I believe.
That's right. We'll be there.
We'll be there. We look forward to seeing you. You be safe, Gray.
We'll be at Delta as well.
Okay, we'll see you there too. God bless you, my friend, and thank you for what you're doing. And holler back if you need anything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Well, cancer is such an evil beast.
Yes, it is. And I've got to pee again.
All right.
Are we done?
Yep. Thank y'all for listening to us. We appreciate y'all very much. God bless you. Got a new shirt out, Unvaxxed and Overtaxed. Check us out. Be on our social media on Instagram where you can buy it. You can order it and you can pay for it right off PayPal and we'll get it shipped to you. It won't be on our website, on our store, because we're fixing to do a new website, but it will be on Instagram and on Facebook in the private page, Unvaxxed and Overtaxed, the Big Honker Podcast. Thank you. Peace. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Watch for deer.